A word and number rearrangement machine, when given an input line of words and numbers, rearranges them in a step-by-step procedure, following a particular rule in each step. Let us take an example to understand what exactly happens here. If you look at this, there is an input given, that is go now 52, 38, 17, for again 65. So this input here is a combination of words and numbers. Strictly speaking, there are 4 words and 4 numbers in this input step. Now this machine arranges them in a step-by-step procedure and obtains the output as shown in step 6. That is 65 again 52 for 38 go 17 now, and this is the output for the given input. To solve questions based on this rearrangement, the first thing which we need to understand is the logic behind this rearrangement. And to do that, the first step is look at the last step without bothering about the intermediate steps. Now from the last step, we can make out that the words and numbers have been arranged in alternate positions. The order of the numbers here is 65, 52, 38 and 17. So we can understand that the numbers here have been arranged in decreasing order. And if you look at the words, that is again, for, go, now, these words are in alphabetical order. So we can now say that the machine rearranges the given input in such a way that the numbers and words come in alternate positions, starting with the number first. All the numbers appear in decreasing order and the words appear in alphabetical order. Now once we have understood the logic behind the last step, let us now look at the step-by-step procedure to understand the movement of these elements, that is the words and the numbers. So from the given input, if you look at the step 1, we know that the first position should be occupied by the highest number, and that highest number in the given input here is 65. So 65 is brought from the last position to the first position in step 1. And the remaining elements are simply pushed aside. That means in each step only one element is moved. Now when we look at step 2, we know that after 65 a word has to take the second position, and that word should be the first one in alphabetical order. So among the given words go, now, for and again, the word which comes first in alphabetical order is again. So in step 2, the word again, which is in this position, is brought to second position in step 2. And the remaining elements are simply pushed aside. That is go, now, 52, 38, 17, for. Again has already gone to the second place. Likewise, if we move to step 3, we know that after again we need a number. And that number here should be 52 as we are following the decreasing order. So 52 is brought from this position to the third position in step 3, and the remaining elements are simply pushed aside. That is go, now, 52 has come to third place, and then 38, 17 and 4. Moving on to step 4, we know that after 52 we need a word, and that word here should be for as we are following the alphabetical order. Because from go, now and for, the word which comes in alphabetical order first is for. So for is brought from the last place in step 3 to fourth place in step 4. And the remaining elements, that is go, now, 38 and 17 are simply pushed aside. Now let us look at step 5. Already the first 4 elements are in proper places till step 4. After for we need a number, and that number here should be 38 as it is the higher number. So 38 is brought from the last but one position in step 4 to fifth position in step 5. And the remaining elements, that is go, now and 17 have been pushed aside. So that completes step 5. After 38 we need a word, and that word here should be go, as it comes first in the alphabetical order among go and now. Now moving on to step 6, we know that the first 5 elements are already in their correct positions. After 38 we need a word, and that word here should be among go and now. As we are following the alphabetical order, the word which should come after 38 should be go. And if we observe in step 5, go comes immediately after 38. That means it is already in the correct position. So when a particular element, that is a word or number, is already in its correct place, we need not disturb that and simply move on to the next element. So as in step 5, the word go has already appeared in the correct position. Let us move on to the next element. After go, we need a number, and that number has to be 17, as it is the only number left out. So in step 6, 17 is brought from the last position to the last but one position. After bringing 17 to its correct position, the word now has occupied the last place, which is the correct place for this word. So we need not do any further rearrangement in this step, and this completes the output. So from this example, we have now understood that to crack the logic behind rearrangement, you first need to observe the last step and decide the pattern among the numbers and the words. Once that is done, we can look at the step-by-step procedure and understand the movement of words and numbers. Remember, in each step, only one element is moved. And if something is already in its correct place, we simply move on to the next element. Here, the input is home, turf, 39, 24, 86, 44, roll over. And the question is, how many steps will be required to complete the arrangement? So we need to do the arrangement for the given input and find out the number of steps required to get the desired output. Let me remind you, our desired output is to get the words and numbers in alternate positions, starting with numbers first. The numbers have to be in decreasing order and the words have to be in alphabetical order. So keeping these things in mind, let us just find out the output for the given input. So going by the step-by-step procedure, the step 1 would be as follows. We know that the first position should be occupied by a number, and that number has to be the highest number among the given numbers. That is 39, 24, 86 and 44. And as we know that 86 is the highest, let us take 86 to the first position. So 86 takes the first place and remaining elements are simply pushed aside. So now the second position would be home, followed by turf, 39, 24. As 86 has already moved there, we can continue with 44, roll over. Moving on to step 2, we know that after 86 a word is required, and that word has to be the first one as per the alphabetical order. So among the given words, that is home, turf, roll and over, the word which comes first as per alphabetical order is home itself, which is already in the correct position, that is position number 2. So as we have got the second position correct in the first step itself, we need not worry about that and we need not disturb that. Let us now move on to the third position. So after 86 and home have taken the correct places, the third position should be a number among 39, 24 and 44. And as we are following the descending order, the third position should be taken by the number 44. So we can say that in step 2, as the first two are already fixed, that is 86 and home, in the third position we need to have 44. So let us bring 44 to the third place and remaining elements are pushed aside. So the next position would be turf, 39, 24, 44 has already gone there, and then roll followed by over. So that finishes the step 2, and now we have got 3 elements in the correct positions. Moving on to step 3, we know that already the first 3 elements, 86, home and 44 are at their correct positions. After 44 we need a word, and that word should be one among turf, roll or over. And going by the alphabetical order, the word which will come in the 4th place will be over. So let us bring over to the 4th position and let us just move the remaining things aside. So over takes the 4th place and followed by turf, 39, 24 and roll. Then coming to step 4, we know that 86, home, 44 and over, have been brought to their correct places. After over, we need to have a number, and that number should be 39, as it is the higher number among 39 and 24. So 39 is brought to position 5 and remaining elements are just pushed aside. So turf, and 39 has already come here, followed by 24 roll. Moving on to step 5, we know that 86 home, 44 over and 39 are already in the correct positions. After 39, we need to have a word that should be one among turf and roll. As we are going by the alphabetical order, the word which comes after 39 should be roll. So let us bring roll to the 6th position, followed by turf and 24. That is, we have got roll in this place and remaining 2 have been just pushed to the next 2 positions. Now, in step 6, we have 86 home, 44 over 39 and roll at their correct places. Now, after roll, we need to have a number, and that number has to be 24, as it is the only number left out. So let us bring 24 to the 7th position, and turf takes position number 8. And since after 24 we need to have a word, and that word must be turf itself, so there is no need to change the position of turf. It has already been put in the correct place. So this step completes the rearrangement. As you can see, the numbers and words are in alternate positions, with all the numbers being in decreasing order and the words being in alphabetical order, which was the desired output. So this is how, in a step-by-step procedure, we have found that total 6 steps are required to complete the arrangement. So our answer here is 6. Let us now use the banker's choice advantage and see how to solve the same question in a smart way. Without writing any of these steps, the answer to this question can be obtained in a few seconds simply by moving the elements with the help of arrows. Let us understand the working of this procedure. The given input is home, turf, 39, 24, 86, 44, roll over. And the question is, how many steps will be required to complete the arrangement? So without writing these steps, let us now see how can we solve this in a simple manner. We know that the first position in the output should be occupied by a number, and that number should be 86, as it is the highest number. So just strike off 86 and let us put an arrow indicating that it comes before home. After moving 86 to the first place, the step 1 appears as 86 home, turf, 39, 24, 44 roll over. We are not writing the step, we are just trying to understand the same thing orally. Now after 86 we need to have a word, and that word should be one among home, turf, roll over. And since we are following the alphabetical order, the word which should come after 86 should be home. And as we can see here, it is already in the correct place. So let us not disturb home and just move on to the 3rd position. After home, we need to have a number, and that number here should be 44, as we are following the descending order. So among 39, 24 and 44, the highest number is 44. So we can simply strike off 44 and indicate its movement with the help of an arrow. This means the first position is 86 followed by home and then 44. Followed by turf, 39, 24, roll over. Similarly, let us continue the method and find out the final output. After moving 44, we need to have a word at the 4th position, and that word should be over, as we are going by the alphabetical order. So let us just strike off over and bring it into the position after 44. After over, we need to have a number, and that number should be 39, as we are following the descending order. So just strike off 39 and draw an arrow indicating that 39 has gone before turf. After 39, there should be a word, and that word should be either turf or roll. As we know that we are going by alphabetical order, the word which comes after 39 must be roll. So let us strike off roll and show its movement with the help of arrow. After moving roll, we need to have a number, and that number has to be 24, as the remaining 3 numbers have already been moved to their correct positions. So roll should be followed by 24. So let us strike off 24 and just draw an arrow showing that it has gone before turf. Now after moving 24 to its correct position, the only element left out is turf, and remaining all elements have gone to their correct places. And that makes turf come to its correct position automatically. So we need not cancel turf and move to any other place, since it is already in the correct position. Now the answer here can be obtained simply by counting the number of things which have been cancelled in the given input. Let us count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. This shows that total 6 movements are required to get the desired output. And so I can say that the number of steps required would be 6. So this is how we can get the answer in a few seconds simply by striking off the elements and moving them with the help of arrows. So friends, always try to be smart and get the answers in a simple way rather than following the complete step-by-step procedure. In some cases, for these type of questions, the last but one step is required. That is, the question says which step will be the last but one step for the given input. To solve such questions, we again need to find out the total number of steps, that is 6 as in this case, and then I can say that the last but one step would be the 5th step. So our answer in that case would be step 5. So basically there are two types of questions. How many steps will be required to complete the rearrangement, or which of the following steps will be the last but one step. So always find out the total number of steps and get the answer. Here the step 2 is 76 ask 1232 begin over join 42, and the question is how many more steps will be required to complete the rearrangement. So here we are supposed to complete the arrangement and find out how many steps more after step 2 are required to complete the arrangement. Now to get the desired output, that is the numbers and words being in alternate positions, starting with numbers first, the numbers in descending order and the words in alphabetical order, we need to follow the same procedure that we have discussed in model 1. That is to strike off the numbers and words and just move them with the help of arrows. So let us do the same thing and find out how many more steps are required. As this is step 2, it is obvious that the first two elements are in their correct positions. So we need not disturb them. And now let us think about the third position. As we know that in the third position, that is after ask, we should have a number. And that number should be one among 12, 32 or 42. And since we are following the descending order of numbers, we very well understand that the third position should be taken by 42. So let us strike off 42 and just bring it here after ask. After 42, a word is required, and that should be among begin, over or join. And since we are following the alphabetical order of the words, we know that the word which is required in 4th place should be begin. So let us strike off begin and just draw an arrow showing that it has gone before 12. After begin, we need a number, and that number should be 1 out of 12 or 32. And we have to take 32 in the next place because we are following the decreasing order. So as 32 comes first in decreasing order, let us strike off 32 and just put an arrow showing that 32 has come before 12. After 32, we need another word, and that word should be either over or join. And as per alphabetical order, the word should be join. So let us strike off join and just draw an arrow showing that join has gone before 12. Now after moving join to this position, the next position is occupied by 12 and then it is followed by over, as these elements have already been moved to their correct places. Now we know that after join, the number required is 12 and that is already in its correct place. And after 12, we need to have a word, and that should be over, which also is in its correct place. So we need not disturb these two elements, that is 12 and over. By counting the number of numbers and words which have been striked off, we can find out how many more steps are required. And as we can see here, we have striked off 4 elements. Therefore, 4 more steps are required to finish the arrangement. So our answer here is 4. In some cases, for the same question, the total number of steps are required. And in such a case, the answer has to be 6. Why? Because already the step 2 is given and we know that 4 more steps are required. So I can say that total number of steps would be equal to the second step plus 4 more steps, that is 6. So if total number of steps are to be determined, the answer has to be 6. If how many more steps are required has to be determined, then the answer has to be 4. The input here is by, when, task 52, 38, 43, door 12. And the question is, what will be step 4 for the above input? That means we need to find out what would step 4 look like when you do the arrangement for this given input. Now this particular question is different from the previous 2 models where we were supposed to find out the number of steps required or how many more steps are required to get the answer. But here, what exactly is a particular step has to be found. Now to solve this question, the procedure remains same as we have followed in the previous 2 models, but with a slight difference. Let us see how to get the answer here. Now, we know that the desired output is that the numbers and words have to be in alternate positions with the numbers starting first. The numbers have to be in decreasing order and the words have to be in alphabetical order. So keeping that desired output in mind, let us understand what would happen in step 1. We know that the first position should be occupied by the highest number out of the given numbers, and the highest number here is 52. So let us strike off 52 and indicate with an arrow showing that 52 takes the first place. The only difference in this model is we also need to mention the position of the element as we have to find out the definite step 4. So after 52, we need a word, and that word should be the one which comes first in alphabetical order. So among the words by, when, task and door, the word which is first in alphabetical order is by, and that is already in the second position. So we need not disturb by, but we can indicate that this is going to be the second position. After by, we need a number. That number should be 43, as it is the highest number from the left out numbers 38, 43 and 12. So let us strike off 43 and move 43 after by. So 43 comes here and this is going to be the third position. I would like to draw your attention to one point here. So far we have finished only 2 steps as there are only 2 cancellations. But the total number of elements which have been arranged is 3. Now, as he's asking us to find out what will be step 4, we need to perform 2 more movements, right? So let us see what will be the next step. After 43, we need a word, and that word should be one among when, task or door. And since we are following the alphabetical order, we know that the word would be door after 43. So let us strike off door and just move it after 43. That means door comes in this position and it is 4th position of the arrangement. So far the output looks like 52 by 43 door followed by win, task, 38 and 12, as these elements have been moved to their proper places. And so far we have finished 3 steps. But as the question is asking what will be step 4, we need to find out the next step after this. So after door, we need to have a number, and that number should be from 38 or 12. And as we know that we are going by descending order, we need to move 38 to its correct place now. So let us strike off 38 and move it before win, and we can understand that 38 is going to come after door. So it takes the 5th position. So now the output so far appears to be 52, which is the first element, followed by, then 43, door, 38, win, task and 12. These elements 52, 38, 43 and door have been moved to their correct positions. And if we read the question now, it says what will be step 4 for the given input. And so far we have done 4 cancellations. That means the output which we can see now is going to be the step 4. So we can say that the step 4 will be 52, which is in the first position, followed by, followed by 43 in the third position, then followed by door in the fourth position, followed by 38 in the fifth position, and then win, task, and finally 12. These 4 elements have been moved to their proper places. So we can say that this is going to be the step 4 for the given input. In the given question, it says the step 3 is 94, car, 86, window, shut, 52, 31, house. And the question is, what will be the definite input for the above given step 3? Let me draw your attention to the word definite here. It says what is going to be the definite input for the given step 3. As the given step is step 3, it is very obvious that the first 3 positions are correct. And we can also understand that in this particular step, the third position was moved from some other place. That means this number 86 was brought from some other position in step 2. So I can say that 86 might be after window, or it might have been brought from this position, or maybe from this position, or from this position, or from this position. So as you can see, there are various cases possible. That means 86 could have been in any of these 5 positions in the previous step, from where it was brought to this third position in step 3. But we cannot say what exactly was the position of 86 out of these 5 possibilities, which means we are unable to find out what was step 2 for this given step 3. And when we cannot determine what was the previous step, that is step 2, it is obvious that we cannot find out the previous one, step 1, or the input for the given step 3. So the answer here should be cannot be determined. As the question is asking for the definite input, which is impossible to determine. Therefore, friends, understand that whenever a definite previous step is asked or the definite input is asked, answer always will be cannot be determined. So without a second thought, simply mark the answer as cannot be determined. In some cases, step 3 or step 4 may be given and they will ask us to find out maybe step 2 or step 1, that is any of the previous steps. So the point here is, for any given step, if a definite previous step or previous input is asked, the answer has to be cannot be determined. And we can say that this question can always be answered in just 0 seconds, as the answer is always fixed, that is cannot be determined. Now let's look at question numbers 1 to 5. See what it says. Study the given information and answer the following questions. When a word and number arrangement machine is given an input line of words and numbers, it arranges them following a particular rule. The following is an illustration of the input and rearrangement, and they say that all the numbers are 2-digit numbers, so that you don't get confused if there are 2 numbers together, right? Each number is a 2-digit number. Now you look at this input: 40, made, butter, 23, 37, cookies, salt, extra, 52, 86, 92, fell, now, and 19. So I think we have got how many? 7 words and 7 numbers. So this is a input which has got a combination of 7 words and 7 2-digit numbers, which has been arranged in a step-by-step process. We have step 1, step 2, step 3 up to step 7. And then the question says step 7 is the last step of the above arrangement, as the intended arrangement is obtained. So whatever was intended, whatever was required, whatever was desired has been obtained in step 7. So that's the last step. Now, as per the rules given in the above steps, find out the appropriate steps for the given input. So there is another input given to you, which is 32, proud, girl, beautiful, 48, 55, 97, rich, family, 61, 72, 17, nice, life. Now all you need to do is understand the logic of the given illustration, right? Understand the step-by-step process, apply the same process to the given input, and then answer the
5 or 6 questions followed by that. So answering these questions is not really difficult, right? All you need to do is get the step-by-step process as quickly as possible. And let me tell you, when there is a common input for all the 5 or 6 questions or all the 8 questions, it is ideal to write all the step-by-step, write all the steps and get the complete process there, right? Generally, if you have gone through the machine input output video, you would know that we follow a technique of, moving the elements with the help of arrows and, use that numbering part so that it becomes easy for us. But let me tell you that that particular technique or that particular smart way of getting the answer is actually useful when there is a different input for each type of question, right? And when there is a particular type of pattern that we follow when we are arranging the steps. But in this case, you would find that the arrangement is not very simple, not very direct, not completely from left to right or from right to left, right? It will have, a kind of mixed arrangement. Each step has got a combination of, different kinds of movements, or maybe in each step we move 2 words or 2 numbers or 1 word and 1 number, unlike what we have discussed in the video. So for these type of questions, and in general, when we have one common input for all the 5 questions, I would say simply write down the step-by-step process, whatever 6, 7, 8 steps that you have, which will take about 2 minutes if you have followed the illustration there, and then answer the questions. Because the questions also asked here are typical, which cannot be so easily answered by using arrows, right? So simple idea here is write down the step-by-step process and answer the questions. The first step when you are answering a machine input output question, right? The first step is to look at the last step. Look at the last step, understand what is intended, understand what is required, what is the desired output. Now keep that output in your mind and then look at the intermediate steps and understand the pattern. So there are 2 things. One is to understand the logic, which can be done easily by looking at the last step. The second point here is to understand the arrangement process, right? The step-by-step process, which can be done by following the intermediate steps, right? But don't try to directly look at step 1. That may, unnecessarily confuse you. It won't lead you anywhere. First, look at the last step, get the logic, keep that logic in your mind, and using that output or keeping that output in mind, try to follow the intermediate steps. Do the same for the given input. That becomes very simple. Please explain how to solve this kind of question in less time. Well, I think the ideal solution, if you ask me, is to put down the steps on paper. Would not take more than 2 minutes, right? If you have followed the pattern quickly, you can do that in 2 minutes and then answer all the 5 questions, or all the 5 or 6 questions given there. Now, why can't we use the arrow method here? See, we can actually use it. If you have understood the flow there, the way the elements are being moved in each step, you can do that. You can mark it as 1, 2, you can give the numbering to each of the steps. But the point here is, understand the questions that we have discussed in the video, those questions are different, right? Those questions have got a different input each time. And more than that, the advantage in those type of questions is the arrangement is very direct, right? Every time in the first step, we fix the first position. In the second step, we fix the second position. In the third step, we fix the third position, and so on, till we obtain the last step, till we obtain the final output. Or sometimes in the first step, we fix the last position. Then in the second step, we fix the last but 1 position. Then, third position from end. Then fourth position from end, and so on. So in these kind of questions, where there is a direct arrangement from first position to last position, or last position to first position, and in each step we move only 1 element. In such questions, using arrows become very easy, right? Only arrows are unidirectional. Either all the arrows are going towards left, or all are going towards right, and you can easily give a numbering to those arrows and mark the questions there, mark the answers for those questions. And what kind of questions are asked? Keep that also in mind. What kind of questions are asked there? How many steps are required to get the final output? So depending on number of cancellations, right? Or which will be the last but 1 step, again based on number of cancellations. Then how many more steps are required, right? Sometimes intermediate step is given, step 3 is given, and then the question is how many more steps are required. Again, based on number of cancellations in that particular step 3, you would get the answer for that one, right? Sometimes they say, which is the previous particular step, right? Which is the definite input. For those questions, there is a fixed answer, cannot be determined. And then sometimes they ask you that how will the step 4 exactly look like, or how actually will step 3 look like. So even that question can be answered with that movement of arrows. Anyway, you have given the numbering there, so you can just see which is first position, second position, third position based on the number of cancellations. For example, if he says, which is the 4th step, you just need to keep in mind that you have to do 4 cancellations. After 4th cancellation, you have to stop, and that gives you the 4th step. That numbering order gives you the 4th step. So all those questions are very easy to answer using arrows. Here again, if you try to go by that method of using arrows, it will become complicated. Two reasons. One is that the arrangement is not so easy, right? We'll most probably try to move two elements in each step, right? In all these examples, you will find the same case, right? We are moving one word and one number at the same time, right? And again, the arrangement is not so direct, right? From first position to last position, or from last position to first position. What happens in such cases is you move one element towards the right, then towards the left, and second element towards the right. Then you may take another element towards that extreme left and then extreme right, and so on. You may do this kind of arrangement. Sometimes what happens, we try to take one element towards the left and second element towards the right. Then the second element is inside, right? This is like outside in operation, right? From outside you are trying to move inwards, right? So this kind of arrangement. Likewise, sometimes there is inside out. So again, this is just one or two examples that I'm showing you, but every time you are moving two elements, and that too in a very different manner there. You can get the number of steps, that's not the problem, but the problem is this kind of an arrangement, right? Where two elements are being moved, and that too in different directions with different strategies, right? Sometimes it is an inside out operation, sometimes it is an outside in operation. And the second reason, this is the first reason, the second reason is, look at the type of questions. For example, if you look at question number 2 here, see what it says. Which of the following is third element from the left end of step 4? Step 6. Third element from the left end of step 6. Now, if you have just done the cancellation part there, you would know how will step 6 look like, right? But then again, finding out third element from the left end of step 6 may become a little complicated, right? Because for every step there are two movements, understand, right? You try it out. I would say you actually try it out. You will get the answer with that as well, but it becomes a little complex. And instead of banging your head for getting that right and thinking too much there, it involves a lot of thinking there, right? So instead of doing all that, keep it simple. Write down all the steps and try to mark the answers. I'll give you one more example. Type of questions you see. For example, he says, what is the position of knives from the left end in final step? What is the position of knives from the left end in final step? Well, final step anyway, you could say, you can easily mark the answer, but it says, what is the position of knives from the left end in step 4? So again, finding that out using arrows may become a little complex. You can go for that as well, but as I said, try to keep it simple, right? Don't make it complicated. Every time, shortcut may not be giving the answer. Sometimes you have to use, see, always we don't use a shortcut formula, right? Sometimes a simple logic will give you the answer. Sometimes we use elimination method. Though there is a shortcut formula to get the answer, we try to use an elimination method. If you had attended yesterday's special booster session that we conducted, there you remember one question was given on average. We know how to calculate average, sum of all the values by number of values. But what did we do there? We did not calculate the average. We simply went, applied the concept of range. I know that the average should be between 60 and 70, or between 600 and 700, and it should be closer to 700. Just by looking at the values, you will get an idea, right? That's it. Look at the answer options. Only one was there, which was closer to 700 and between 600 and 700. That's my answer. So the point here is, don't have an impression that always shortcut is the best way to get the answer, or always that smart method is the best. Sometimes you can go beyond that and get the answers much faster. And sometimes you have to keep things simple, right? "32 proud girl, beautiful, 48, 55, 97 rich, family, 61, 72, 17 nice and life," right? So I think 32 PGB, 48, 55, 97 RF, 61, 72, 17 nice and life. And now some of you may tell me that, why do you write 2-digit number? You can write a single digit number. The idea here is we are not writing the word proud. We are simply writing P, so that we save time. Likewise, you don't have to write 32. You can only write 3 and save some time, right? So that's okay. You can just write a single digit number. But before that, we need to understand the pattern. So if you look at the step 7 here, some input is there: 40 made, butter 32, 23, 37 cookies, etc. Now look at step 7, the last step. Salt 92, now 86 made, 52 fell, 40 extra, 37 cookies, 23 butter, 19. Now try to understand the logic in this output, right? The last step there. You find that the words and numbers have been arranged in alternate positions. starting with a word. So we have a word followed by number, word, then number, word, number, and so on. Now look at the numbers there. 92, 86, 52, 40, 37, 23, 19. All the numbers have been arranged. All the numbers have been arranged in descending order, right? 92, 86, 52. So clearly the numbers have been arranged in descending order. And now look at the words: salt, now, made, fell, extra, cookies, butter. If you observe, the words have been arranged in the reverse alphabetical order, right? In the reverse dictionary order. Or if you come from the end, we see butter, cookies, extra, fell, made, now, salt. So the words have been arranged in alphabetical order from the end. So from the front, it is reverse alphabetical order. So clearly the logic here is words and numbers have to be in alternate positions, starting with a word, right? All the words are in reverse alphabetical order and numbers are in descending order. But just this will not be enough. You also have to understand the pattern here, intermediate steps. So look at step 1 now. So keep this in mind. I want a word first, then number, words in reverse order, numbers in descending order. Now in step 1, now when you're looking at step 1, try to compare with input. What kind of changes have taken place? For example, in step 1, if I observe, in input the first position was 40, but here butter has come. In the first position we have got butter, and in the second position we have got 19. So I'm just trying to compare the step 1 with input, right? Just try to look at those two steps closely. So first position butter, second position 19, and then we have 40, made. Now understand, after butter and 19, they're just moving the remaining elements, right? Remaining are as it is. 40, made, then butter anyway has gone there. 23, 37, cookies, salt, extra, 52, 86, 92, fell, now. So clearly, in step 1, two elements were moved. One is butter, the second one is 19. Remaining always just pushed aside. They've just moved away, right? Now understand why butter and 19 was brought here. Look at the output. Try to understand. In the output, butter and 19 is like a pair, a word and a number pair. The last word and the smallest number, or the last word as per reverse alphabetical order and the smallest number. So descending part there, right? So butter and 19, that pair, that last pair has been brought here. Are you able to follow? Now look at step 2. What happens in step 2? In step 2, cookies and 23 has been occupied, taken in the first two positions, and butter 19 and the remaining part has just moved away, right? So cookies 23, butter 19, then 40 made in the order as the order of step 2. So why cookies and 23 has come here? Again, observe the last step. Cookies and 23 comes before butter and 19. So what are we actually trying to do? We are trying to arrange it in the reverse direction. Generally, we fix the first position in the first step. But here what we are doing, we are fixing the last position in the first step, then in last but one position in the second step. So you keep doing this. So finally, when you complete it, you find that everything comes in an order, right? We are arranging from the reverse side. So we are just trying to keep the element in front of the previous step, right? So that it becomes in the, we get the intended output, right? So that's the logic. Now observe the remaining steps also. So we have got cookies and 23, then we have got extra 31, everything was moved, then fell 40, everything else is moved, made 52 moved, now and 86 moved, salt 92 moved. So clearly the logic is as we have discussed earlier, and this is the process. Now do the same thing for the given input, right? So what will be step 1? What will be step 1? Understand, in step 1 we had got two positions. We are fixing the two positions. We are moving two elements, and which two elements? Those elements which are actually supposed to come at the last position, right? Then keep doing that so that you get the final output. So which is the first word? First word as in the first position and the second position for this particular input as per the given illustration. I want the smallest number and the last word as per the alphabetical order. So smallest number here I think is 17, and the last word or the last word as per alphabetical order should be B. So what do? We bring 17 and B to the first two positions, right? Now, will you write 17 and B or B and 17? Don't get confused. Just look at the given input step 1 and try to understand. So first word and number. So we'll write B here and 17. Are you able to follow? B and 17. Bring everything else just aside. So 32. Understand. Always remember when you're answering such questions, it is very important that you write everything in a particular sequence there, right? The alignment should be proper so that you don't get confused. Sometimes what happens, now what you need to do is when you're writing the remaining things, keep in mind that this particular B, butter, or I think beautiful and 17 should not be copied again. Now if you don't follow the alignment part, what happens? Though butter has been taken here, or forget about that beautiful word. Look at this number 17. Though we have already taken 17, while writing out the remaining things, you may again write 17 here, which may give you a wrong answer. I mean, again, your complete step-by-step process may become wrong. So to avoid that mistake, the easiest thing is always have an alignment. Properly write everything one above the one below the other, so that you should stop here. If you get anything extra, you will get to know that okay, you have copied something twice, right? So that's the logic. So except B and 17, just write everything as it is. So I'll get 32 PG. I'll skip B. Then 48, 55, 97 R, F, 61, 72. Don't copy 17, right? 17 has already gone there. N and L. Then step 2. What happens in step 2? B and 17. Understand? B and 17 will move here in the third and fourth position. We'll get what comes before this in the first two positions, right? So what comes after? What comes before B? You are going by the reverse alphabetical order. So B, then we have P, G, R, F, N, L. So I think we'll get, look at step 1. We'll get F, and what number? The next number, 17. Then we have 32 here, right? So bring F and 32. So F and 32. Copy everything else as it is. So F and 32 is gone, right? F32 has gone. Now just try to copy everything. So B17, F32, 32 is gone. Now P, G, 48, 55, 97, and understand R, 61, F is gone and 17 is gone. Sorry, F is gone and 32 is gone. Let me just write it properly. Okay. So B and 17 has come here, 32 has come here. F. So P, G, 48, 55, 97, R, then 61, 72, N, L. Likewise, just continue. What happens in step 3? What comes before F and 32? Number will be 48, and what will be the letter? I think G. So G and 48. So G 48, then F 32, B 17 are fixed. Copy the remaining things. So P, G and 48 have gone. 55, 97, R, 61, 72, N, L. What comes in step 4? What comes after G? After G, it should be, I think, J, K, L, M, right? L should come, and the number should be 55. So L and 55. Then move the remaining things. G, 48, F, 32, B, 17. L and 55 have gone there. So P, 97, R, 61. 72 and N, because L has gone there. Likewise, step 5. What happens in step 5? Just move the next thing, right? So after 55, we'll get 61, and the number should be, and the word should be N. So N, 61, then L, 55, G, 48, F, 32, B, 17, and P, 97. P97, R, 61 has gone there, N has gone there, 72. Then step 6, right? What comes after this? After N, we'll have P, and the number will be 72. So P72, N 61, L 55, G 48, F 32, B 17. Understand P and 72 have gone there. So what is left out? 97 and R. And in the last step, 7th step, take 97 and R. So R 97, P 72, N 61, L 55, G 48, F 32, B and 70. So now if you observe your last step, what do you see here? All the numbers have come in the reverse order: 97, 72, 61, 55, 48, 32, 17, and the words also have come in the reverse alphabetical order. So R, P, N, L, G, F, B. Or if you want to verify, go from the right to left, right? So that you get to know the alphabetical order. So B, F, G, L, N, P, and R. That's it. So I think only one suggestion that I have here is try to follow that alignment part, right? If you try to, mismatch that alignment, if you lose that alignment thing, then you will get confused completely, right? And make sure that whatever elements have been moved, you don't copy those things while just pushing the remaining elements, right? So I think this would take what? Not more than 2 minutes, right? And even if it takes 2 minutes, I think this is good enough, because after this, answering the questions is very, very easy. Fine. So let's look at question number 1. How many steps will be required to complete the given input? 7. 2 seconds, you know the answer. Look at question number 2. Which of the following is third element from the left end of step 4? Which of the following is third element from the left end of, step 6? Third element from the left end of step 6. This is step 6. Third element from the left. 1, 2, and 3. What is this? N. So your answer should be N. Nice. Option 4. So answering questions doesn't take any time. Only this step-by-step process is important. So 2-3 minutes. I think understanding that given illustration will take about 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and then writing the step-by-step process. This is the only task. Once you are done this, you get clear 5 marks, right? Next question. Which of the following is step 3 of the given input? Now try to map. Step 3, you know, G48, F32, B17, right? So just try to map G48. So you should start with G. So first option, second option, fourth option are ruled out. It may be the third option or fifth option because both of them are starting with G. Now just try to compare with some more elements. G48, F32, B17, G48, F32, B17, G48, L55. That means fifth option is ruled out. So you know that answer has to be third option. Because 1, 2, 4, and 5 are ruled out, we can say answer is third option. But be careful in such a question, if fifth option is given as none of this, then you have to completely map the whole step. Sometimes what happens, let's say in this case, if fifth option is given as none of this, we'll say first option, second option, fourth option cannot be the answer. Answer should either be third option because it starts with G, or maybe fifth option, none of this. Now some students just try to match first 4 or 6 elements, G48, F32, B17, G48, F32, B17, and they mark the answer. Be careful, maybe at the end something has been jumbled, at the end something has been shuffled. So if your fifth option is none of this, then you have to map to the last step, to the last element. Only then mark your answer. Then what's the next question? I think what is the position of nice from the left end in the final step? Nice from the left end in the final step. Left hand it says. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth from the left hand. So fifth is the answer, option 1. And which of the following element is third to the right of family in step 5? Third to the right of family in step 5. Now step 5, first of all, find out where is family. Here is the word family. Third to the right of family. Right of family is 1, 2, 3, 17. So your answer for question number 5 would be option 2, 17. So simple that answering the questions is not difficult. Again and again, I'm repeating the same stuff, that you understand the given process clearly, right? Don't try to avoid any of the intermediate steps, because in these kind of questions, every step is important. You actually have to understand you have to understand very minute details as well. That are you actually moving 2 elements at the same time? Like for example, in this question, every time you are moving 2 elements. But sometimes what happens, one element is already in its correct place. Are you able to follow? Try to understand. You know that in each step 2 elements have to be moved. But when doing this kind of an arrangement, maybe one element, one word or one number is already in the correct place. Now the question that arises is, in such a case, will you move only the second element or will you move the next 2 elements? Are you able to follow? Right here, in this particular case, that doubt will never arise, because we are doing an arrangement where we are just moving this way, right? It's like pushing it this side. So always 2 elements have to be moved. But sometimes you do some different type of arrangement where it may be possible that one word or one number is already in the correct place. Now you may get a doubt. How should I go for the step then? Should I only move the second element of that particular step, or should I go for the next 2 elements? There is no answer for that. You have to look at each and every step and understand that. Are you able to follow? There is no fixed rule. It all depends on the given illustration. Sometimes they move only one element and complete the step. Sometimes they move the next 2 elements, because every question has got some set of rules, right? So one time the rule says that every step 2 elements have to be moved, whether they are in the right place or not. And sometimes it may so happen that in each step 2 elements have to be arranged. So if something is already in the correct place, just move only the next step, next element there.